evening or good evening. I tell you what, when I was away for the last 3 months, I missed everybody. But the trouble is, I miss these two the most because
Aw,
Thank you.
big
yeah,
hug.
yeah, no, because I love your music. I love talking to you, and you're kind of like really down to earth. There's no things about you. There's no things tucked away. You say it as it is, and that's what I like about you two.
Thank you. And we're good.
What?
We're trying to get a little bit of ear thing going on here to hear you, so we can put the earbud in. That should help.
Okay.
Thank you. What a compliment. Well, hey, very down to earth. Thank you so much. Thank you for loving my music. Thank you.
Yeah, it's not a problem. Not a problem. Frank,
Yes.
your latest movie. What's it called, and what's happening with it?
It's called Red Pine City. It's an action adventure love story, which
Ah,
I directed, co-wrote, and co-produced. So, yeah, it was quite an experience because it was originally written to be shot in late summer, early autumn, but the financing didn't come in time, so we wound up shooting in frigid weather, and instead of beautiful greenery, we got beautiful ice and snow. But it looks amazing. It worked regardless. And
did Angelica play a part in this, or
she
no?
did. Well, she can speak on the music side, but yeah, she does a cameo. She introduces at the end of the movie. She introduces the star. But Angela also wrote music. Yeah, she can speak. You go ahead.
So I was able to play and introduce her, and I wrote 6 songs for her because the star, the female star, is a well, she wants to be a recording artist. She's a songwriter. So
Right.
she needed material. So I wrote her songs and I produced them
You
and
also sang them.
recorded them, and I sang them as well, which is why in my little cameo I didn't sing, because you hear my voice through it. And I just played and introduced her like we were in Nashville, and I worked with her. So that was fun to work with her, and yeah, and I'm doing the film score for the movie as well.
God.
What's the score,
What's the
Angela?
score? Right.
Every day I look at Angela and I go, Angela, what's the score?
It was funny. We were in Edmonton, and see, I grew up in Alberta. I spent 27 years there.
That's Western Canada for all you folks in the UK, just so you know.
So I moved from Alberta to British Columbia, which is now the West Coast. And then, of course, Frank and I came together after that. But I was in Edmonton, which is where we shot it for about 5 years in a recording studio there in Damon Soundtrack Studios. And I knew some of the people that were there. I didn't really contact too many from the studio, but it was really fun to kind of go back to what you would call home in a way. And we froze there. I grew up in that kind of weather, but Frank, boy, you were in minus 27 a lot of the time. I was writing songs often in the hotel room. On the first day of shooting, I was there with the main actress on stage. I was teaching her how to look like a performer, and then on the very last week or so, a little bit more than that, I was with you guys out in that frigid cold.
It was cold.
And you ended up with severe laryngitis.
Minus 27 degrees Celsius, 5 days in a row.
Yeah.
God.
That's cold.
But we had a lot of fun. That was fun with people.
Oh, it was fun being cold.
So what's the next step then? What's the next step for this movie?
Right now we're finishing up the video portion of the editing, and we're only maybe 3 days or 4 days away from completing that. And then I hand the film over to the post-production people. So we're doing like sound effects, special effects, things like gun flashes, because we obviously never use real guns, at least we don't. And then dialogue editing. And then, of course, Angela's music will be blended into all that, and we'll fit her songs into the movie. And I enjoy the post-production phase because the pressure is far, far less there than it is when you're on a film set with a whole bunch of people, and you have a deadline every day, and you're dealing with weather. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not. So all the post-production is all in interior and in a nice cozy room. So that's my kind of my favorite part of the whole process. Yes, I have to confess.
It gives you another perspective to be away from what you saw live to see the takes. You've just completed the first cut, yes?
Well, it's almost complete. Yeah, we're about 2 or 3 days away from that. Just finessing it. You can't let it go too soon. Because then down the road you might be sorry. I mean, you might say, geez, I wish I would have added this. I wish I would have added that. So take a few extra days, sometimes even a week, depending on your deadlines, and do it right.
Yeah, yeah. If you two wanted to kind of make your own film, say, right, just you two, what would it be?
If I'm sorry, I couldn't hear your question. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So if you came together and wanted to make a film, just you two, what would it be?
Oh, well, I'm working on that right now. It's a project it's been in the back of my mind for a long, long time, but I needed the right person to do it with, and I found that right person sitting right next to me. Yeah, it's a movie script I'm writing right now. I'm about halfway through. It's called Concerto, and it's about a pianist who gets inspired. I don't want to say too much, but it's kind of a romantic movie, but it's filled with a lot of music, a lot of music, and yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that one. As we get closer to it, I'll speak more of it, but right now it's kind of premature. But the title is Concerto, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
And she's the one.
When you kind of do filming, do you always think of the ideas, or is there other people around you that think about the ideas?
Both. Some of the screenplays I produced were my own right from the beginning. I'm staring at a blank page, or if you're on a computer, you're staring at a blank screen, and you have to create all the characters, the storyline. Others I've adapted. Some of them somebody wrote, let's say, a story, and then based on the story, I will do the screenplay, because the story doesn't necessarily have dialogue in it. It's just like, you're telling us a story about what you did last week. It's called a treatment. In our business, we call it a treatment. So somebody hands me a treatment. A treatment can be 3 pages long. It could be 30 pages long, whatever. But then I take it and I adapt it into a screenplay. Now, in the Academy Awards, they have 2 categories. They have Best Original Screenplay and then Best Adapted Screenplay. An adapted screenplay is based on a novel or is based on somebody else's story, and you adapt it. I do both. So if somebody comes along and has a great idea, give it to me. I'm all for it. I'm not selfish. I love, if somebody has a script that's better than mine, I will do their script before I do mine. That's how I think.
Yeah. What makes somebody a good filmmaker? Because making a film,
Mhm.
It takes its time, it takes its energy, probably it costs money. What
Oh,
makes a good filmmaker?
Well, first of all, you have to be tough as nails. You have to be able to withstand all kinds of pressure. That's difficult. That's very difficult. I mean, lots of people can create in a nice, warm, safe environment. But when you have to create with basically a hammer overhead, by that I mean, you have a time limit, you have a budget limit, and sometimes you have people looking over you, always poking you to do things differently. That can be very, very difficult, especially if you're an independent filmmaker and you're used to doing things your own way. It can be very difficult, but that applies to everybody. I don't mean just me. It applies to anybody. You have to have nerves of steel, and also you have to have a lot of creativity and the people skills, because you're working with a lot of people. It isn't just 2 or 3 people on even an independent film set. You've got 30, 40 people on a film set. In big budget films, you got 100, 200 people, and you have to be able to adapt quickly. You have to be able to change gears if you need to, and you also have to know how to deal with actors, because some of the actors, I mean, there's egos. I mean, we all know that. A lot of actors have big egos, and some can be trouble, and others are just wonderful. Most of the people I had in this film were absolutely wonderful people. Matter of fact, The crew was great. It was great. Just the weather was a pain. I just wish we could have shot in warmer weather. But other than that, I have to, take my hat off to everybody involved in the project because it was very, very difficult, and it was a relatively small budget, and you have to produce no matter what. Once you start, there's no turning back.
Yeah, yeah. Angela, when Frank's out filming and doing what he's got to do and everything, do you feel lonely, or do you just carry on playing your music, or kind of making your next album, or what?
No, because I'm with him. The only time I wasn't with him was that I had a time limit to get 6 songs done in about 2.5 weeks.
Gosh.
And so I was like his personal assistant. And then I've done things in film too, and I've been in some films before. So I know what he has to do, and he can't just start socializing. He's like very focused. So I can either aid with something like that, which I did, or I have my own stuff to do too, because I have releases to do. And so we find that we work together on other projects too, besides this film, and it's kind of fun. We come together and and I edit film, and I do sound and mix and master, and we interview people. We work on projects that some of them are they're for businesses, and
we've
what it is.
We've done some commercials together, but right now we're working on also besides this film, we're working on a documentary about a Canadian band.
Yeah, and we'll get into that. Right?
Yeah, if you like to hear about it, we can tell you about it.
Go on, tell us, carry on.
Okay, well, this band it's defunct now, but it was very, very prominent back in the late 1960s and early 70s. And it was called Edward Bear. They had a string of #1 hits in Canada. And interestingly enough, I booked this band many, many years ago when I had a club in a small town I grew up in. And of course, I didn't know who they were. And it was kind of funny because I used to call their agent or manager, booking. I would say, actually, it was a booking house, to be honest with you. And I call and say, what do you got for me this week or for next week? And he says, well, let's see here. Within your budget, I've got this band called Edward Bear. And I thought, oh, that's a stupid name for a band, Edward Bear. Anyway, he says, yeah, but they're good. You want to give them a try? I said, well, how much? He told me, I said, okay, I can afford that. So these 3 guys show up the following week, just 3, keyboard, drums, and guitar. And they asked me if they could rehearse. They showed up early in the afternoon. I said, yes, go ahead. Well, they started rehearsing, and I thought it was a whole darn orchestra in there. They were amazing. Just three musicians, and they sounded phenomenal. So I spread the word that afternoon. It's a small town. It didn't take much. I spread the word, and the place was jam-packed that night. I found out, years later that they became very, very famous. And I was really happy to have booked them. And anyway, so I always thought, I would love to do a documentary on them because they were so good. But like so many other bands, except, the Rolling Stones that go on forever, I think. I swear to God, the Rolling Stones, I think they all died 6 years ago. They're all hanging around to pick up their paychecks. But I'm joking. I'm joking.
I just sang this.
I'm joking. Anyway, I mean, these guys are old, but I give them credit. But anyway, most bands break up within a short period of time. And they kept going for a while. But anyway, we're doing a documentary on them. And so far, we've interviewed the 3 original band members. And then, of course, as time goes on, a few others fill in.
60.
So I think we've done 6 interviews so far. We're doing another one on Monday. People involved with the band, fans of the band. So this one, there's no pressure on this one. There's no budget for this. We're just doing it on our own time. And my own money. And I have one of my friends named Tony Maroney, who's helping us. So the 3 of us, it's basically the whole crew is 3 people, Angela and I and Tony. But that's about, I would say, 6-7 months away.
Yeah. And Tony is doing the video editing. I'm doing the sound.
Yeah, and I am producing and directing. So anyway, so it's fun. We're always doing something.
Well, you are, you are really, really, really good. I can't wait because I'm going to interview somebody next week which is in the top of in the charts at the moment in the UK, and I can't wait for that. So I cannot mention no names at the moment, but they're a really good band and everything, and I'm really looking forward to that.
We're looking forward to knowing about it and what you're doing, and yeah, great.
Yeah. Well, it's all I can tell you. It's a woman's band. It's a 4-person band and everything, and you probably can guess. You know,
and we're trying to hear you. So if we look like we're straining on screen, we really are.
Yeah,
sorry.
I hope you can hear us okay, because we're having just a little bit of trouble with your volume.
Okay.
If you can speak it up just a tiny bit, that'd be great.
Is that better?
Yeah, that is it. Thank you.
That's okay. So we're going to interview a set of young ladies. Well, not young ladies no more, but they're coming on age, did very well in the charts and everything. So we can't wait for that. So we're looking for that. Angela,
yes.
Are you working on your next album at all?
Yes, I am. Actually, it's funny that you said that. Because I wanted to release something in January, but when I got the laryngitis, forget it. So the intention was to release at least one Christmas song, maybe 2. So I'll be doing that next year, because of course I miss this Christmas. But I have some songs to release in addition to the 6 that I'm going to be releasing. And some of them are a little on the electronic side. This moves into the country pop bluesy a little bit. They really cross over. But what I typically do for my albums are really under the electronic pop, maybe some classical overtones. And I got to tell you a funny thing. When I wrote these 6, besides what I'm going to be releasing with my other stuff, I was writing to what you would consider to be an altered ego. So I had a script, I knew the story, and I had to turn the female star, into a singer-songwriter, aspiring recording artist who ends up in Nashville, but I had to have the credibility to be in Nashville. So I had to write songs that were different enough, but also to follow the storyline so that it kind of described her a bit, what was going on with her inside, and fun stuff, you name it. So it was a first for me to write to an altered ego, which was, I actually kind of liked it, And I was like, these better be okay, and I'm glad you like them. So yeah, it'll be fun to release.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Last time couple times that we've had you on, we played some fun games.
Yeah.
And I'd like to do another one with you, if that's okay.
Wonderful. Let's play a game.
Oh, okay.
He's like, oh no.
You want to get me in trouble, don't you, Steve?
No, I don't want you to get in trouble. So what I want you to do, I want you two to stay together. I want you to be there, okay?
Okay.
So what I'm going to say is I'm going to go mention one word, and what you got to do is you got to tell me the first thing that comes into your head.
Okay.
Right?
You start. Okay. Start with Angela.
Yeah, I'll start with the lady. Okay. So Angela, love.
Frank.
What? I didn't hear that.
Okay, so he's going to mention one word. The first thing that comes to your head, you mentioned something. He said love. I said Frank.
Oh, okay. I get it. Okay,
It's
I couldn't hear. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Now it's my turn.
Yeah. So your turn. Dog.
Bow wow.
Okay.
That was terrible. I apologize.
It's cute.
No. Someone's just laughing at me, Steve.
That was terrible. Anyway.
It's just a mad session. Yeah. Right. Okay. Angela. Flowers.
Valentine's Day. Sorry, I just mentioned it. First thing that comes to my mind. Not a hinting or anything.
No, it's good. Okay, my turn.
Yes. Partner.
Angela.
Okay.
That worked.
He's like, I'm not in the doghouse.
Not yet.
Angela, who is your secret admirer?
I'm not secret. Don't look at me. There's nothing secret about me.
Francesco Caruso beside me.
That's cheating. That's cheating. She doesn't want to. She doesn't want to spill the beans. She's got a whole bunch of secret admirers.
Well, I mean, there's a fan base and there's friends and family, and honestly,
Yeah, but I'm not a secret admirer. I'm an open admirer. So that was cheating. You gotta come up with something better than that.
No. We don't have an argument on here.
This is simply a discussion. It's
Yeah. Okay. So Frank, newspaper.
Globe and Mail.
Is that a proper newspaper?
It is. It's one of Canada's national newspapers. Yes.
Right. Okay. Holiday.
is that for me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Holiday?
Yeah.
White sand. White sandy beach.
White sandy beach. Okay. Frank, this is going to be a good one for you. Right?
Okay.
Marriage.
Very soon.
You got the end, didn't you? You got the good. Right. Okay. So you want to get married on a white sandy beach, yeah?
We're going to get married in a church.
Well, yeah, we will go to a white sandy beach, but after we get married, yeah. I'm not sure I want to get married on a white sandy beach because.
That's something funny to tell you. Can I tell you something really funny? So when one of the cruise ships I was in, Disney, I would do weddings and they have a private island. So they take all the technicians would take all the equipment out to play if you had to perform for a wedding. I end up on this beach looking at a computer screen for songs that are last second given to me, but the sun was so bright I couldn't read a thing. And I was like, thank God I can play by ear. So I'm in there with my feet in heels in the sand right on the beach. But don't try and read a device in the sun. You know how that is.
Ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, so that's what it kind of reminded me of. Weddings and sandy beaches. And
Right. Angela, your first love.
I was a teenager, my first love. Do I give his name or you just want anything?
I don't want names because Frank will go and shoot him.
I'm not the jealous type.
Oh, you're
Go ahead.
Italian. I'm going to check your trunk when we're done.
I'm not the jealous type. So yeah.
His name was Tony DeBot. And
Right.
I was really young, and he was a kissing boyfriend. And he was like my first love. And we were separated by geography. And I was like, tears, you know?
Well, his loss is my gain. So there you go.
Who was your first love, Frank?
I'm sorry.
Who was your first love?
Oh my goodness! In grade 1, I fell in love with this young lady named Janie Pelche, and I was in love with her throughout all my grade school. And then when we got to high school, nothing happened. So it was just like, in a way, it's like all this wasted love because nothing came of it. You
A
know,
dying flame? Was it a dying?
it was more like an ember. You know, but you know, it's puppy love. But she was so cute. And yeah, and you know, it wasn't meant to be, so we just drifted. But yeah, and that lasted a long time. It was more like an infatuation, and I didn't think of anybody but her. And you know, when you're that young, you know, you have all these crazy dreams and everything else, and nothing materialized. Zero.
I know. Have you ever had an awkward moment, Angela?
In general?
Yeah, in general.
Oh, yes. Related to anything like specifically or?
Being around me, she's always awkward.
Anything.
Thanks, Frank.
Okay.
Any awkward moment?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you about it.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you this because it was rather embarrassing, actually. But I held my head up high and,
Yeah,
is that better for you?
yeah, there's too much.
Yeah, I like this side better, Frank. It's nice.
Oh,
I'm
thank you.
sorry.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So I'm in Costa Rica. I lived there for 3.5 years. And I'm in the Marriott Las Vegas Beach and Golf Resort, Marriott at the Sea, right? Opened a new hotel there. Met Mr. Marriott, who comes in there on one of the opening nights, the president of Costa Rica. And he's hanging around my piano, and there's all this security. I didn't know who he was. I'm sorry. I didn't know who he was. I wasn't there long enough. And so he's hanging around a long time with me. And no kidding, because I didn't ask him any questions about his career. But he's like, do you know who I am? I was like, no, I don't. When I found out who he was, I was like, maybe this is the part where I kind of crawl under the piano. I don't know. But then again, there was another party and I played and he was there and we had a great rapport. And, you know, what an embarrassing moment. A president of a country and you don't know who it is and you're sitting there chatting with them and you're performing and they're hanging out with you for about maybe 35 minutes.
How could you possibly know?
Well, you're supposed to
I'm not sure it's
know
used.
this, right? And I thought, this is really bad. This is really bad.
But you're not from there, and you know, people.
There's a newspaper. There's, you know, like VIP. I didn't know. That's probably why I like me.
Yeah. How about you,
That's
Frank?
awkward.
Frank, how about you?
I'm sorry.
How about you? Your awkward moment.
Oh, for me, oh my goodness, I've had so many awkward moments. I don't know where to start. Well, okay, I'll pick a good one. In my high school, my friend and I were going to do a duet, and I played guitar. He didn't, so I foolishly left my guitar backstage. Okay, foolishly. Well, some idiot went backstage and deliberately untuned the guitar. I mean, untuned it. So I grabbed the guitar, I go out there, and I start to play. And everybody starts laughing because they think it's a comedy routine. And I was stuttering and muttering, and my friend froze. You know, I thought maybe while I was tuning the guitar, maybe he'd say something to keep the audience entertained, and he didn't. So I'm sitting there tuning the guitar and talking to the audience, trying to convince them that this is not a comedy routine while they're laughing. So yeah, that was extremely awkward. I hope I never have to go through that again.
What song would you sing to Frank if you had to?
Oh, that is mine or someone else's?
Well, yours on your
A Song for the One.
Yeah.
Frank loves that one.
Yep, Song for the One.
Right.
One of my favorites. One of my favorite Angelica tunes.
Thank you.
Frank, how about you? If you had to sing a song, what would you do?
Oh, All the Way. When somebody loves you, it's no good unless they love you. All the way, happy to be near you.
Oh, he's singing for me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. That just came just like that. No hesitation.
Where's my audience gone? They're gone. Oh. Good singer, but my audience is gone down to naught. It's a joke.
I scared the audience away. Come back. I'm not a singer.
We locked the door. Where do you think you're going?
Come back.
Yeah, lock the door. When you two kind of like are working, how often do you have to spend time? You know, sorry, get my facts right. Can't read my own writing here. When you two are working, you know, and you're really working hard, when do you spend time for yourselves? Because, you know, one minute I see Frank doing something else, and, you know, you're always kind of like playing night times when I'm gone to bed. Then I've got to chase it up in the mornings, you know, look at it. And, you know, do you have time just to kind of like sit down and watch a little bit of TV and drink some cocoa or something?
We do. I also play in the day, so we always make time for each other. You know, we had this COVID, so everybody was locked in. Frank has a lot of Zoom meetings. He has offices here in the house, and I have my studio in the house. And we'll go out. We'll do things together if we can. But we'll find time to watch.
We hardly go out anymore though, because you know, when COVID hit, you start to realize that all these meetings I used to go to that took time and expense, going to restaurants and bars, yeah, you just click on your, you know, your iPad or your cell phone or wherever you are, and you can just talk to people like we are right now, you know, and you're a third of the way around the world, and we're talking. And most of my meetings over the last year and a half or so have all been on Zoom. And you know, I'm talking to, especially in the film business, you're talking to people in Europe, you're talking to people, like I have an associate in Vancouver, one in the east coast of Canada, Prince Edward Island, the US. It's great. I mean, that's the plus side of the internet.
And you prefer to be on Zoom than a phone call now? Yeah.
Yes, I will only do Zoom calls because I want to see, I like to read expressions on people's faces. So when you're talking on the phone, you can't see it. But on Zoom,
Uh-huh.
you can. I can read people. I mean, most people can. And
Yeah.
nothing special about me, but I just like Zoom meetings. Even if it's just going to be 10 minutes long, I always say, let's go on Zoom and do it. And it's like being right there. There's somebody, thousands of miles away, and they're right there.
And you teach online when you get groups of students?
Yeah, I also do online acting classes.
Do you?
It's not full time,
Yeah.
part time, but I do them. I enjoy them.
And you teach in person sometimes.
Yeah,
And I teach in person as well.
yeah. If somebody wants to show up at the house, I'm happy too. But
And that's fun.
it's always fun.
Great, brilliant. You do quite a lot, don't you? You do really a lot. I want to talk to Angela about nights when she's kind of like singing on Facebook, because I hear that you're really doing well. Your audience is up.
Sorry, I can't move because I can't hear him. I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
Yeah, your audience on Facebook is up, isn't it? It's growing in numbers when you're singing on Facebook.
And the question is?
The question is, do you get a buzz out of that? Do you get a buzz when all these people come on listening to you?
I do. And it's an interesting thing because not everybody will come at the same time. They'll come after, depending on their schedules. And it's always a live video. And it's nice to see people, even if you know each other virtually and you've never met. It's nice. I enjoy playing for people and I enjoy engaging. I would love if everyone was in the room with me, because that's a fun thing. And I used to do piano bars and chips for years. So it was very, very rowdy room. And of course, cocktail piano. So I would swing around on different various types of genres and kinds of playing and entertainment. And people are really where it's at, because I could play and sing for me all the time. So the night show, I enjoy that online. And it's great because I can pitch my music to have
How
fun.
many shows?
I've done 294 shows now online.
Gosh.
Since April 5th of 2020.
Yeah. 10
Gosh.
days into COVID, I said to Frank, you know what? I'm going to do a show twice a week. And I never wanted to stop it. I don't think I will stop it ever. I think that it's important to be online because your fan base is everywhere. And if you're touring around on some union room scenario, that's great. You can make your way around different countries. But in the meantime, we have Toronto, large city, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And so you have the city, and then you have online, unless you're touring or doing something along those lines, right?
Yeah.
I love it. I love people.
I've got Ailey here, and she was the one who recommended me to you.
Hi, Haley. How you doing?
And she said, are you going to come over to the UK anytime?
Yes, I would love to. And so that is a yes. And if we do, we're looking you up. You bet.
Really good, really good. Secondly, I've got Rachel here, and she said, what is the best song on your album?
I have multiple albums. The best one, you know what? I think that songs are like candies. They're different flavors. So it depends on my mood. I think the best question would be, in order to answer that, I have to answer with a question, what kind of music do you like? What do you like? And then I'll tell you which one is the best. For me, in favorites, I loved I'm Feeling That Way and A Song for the One. But I also love the classical stuff that I do, like Dreamland Awakening. So it, like flavors of candies, it kind of depends on a mood. It's a mood thing. Sometimes I like a lot of rhythm. I have a dance tune in there. Dance Like You Were Free, and I like the inspiration I put in the lyrics. I don't like to write sad stuff. And interestingly, in the movie, I did write some sad songs. I wrote a sad song, remember?
It's not sad. It doesn't feel
We Don't Say Goodbye.
Yeah, but well, that's true.
Yeah, no, that's
but
fine.
but it's not really sad. It's a beautiful song.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
But the
song.
lyrics, they talk about, we don't
Parting,
say goodbye.
yeah.
We don't say goodbye.
Yeah.
And I won't get into it because it's a beautiful melody to it. I think on the album, getting back to your question, what is the best song on the album? There's 5 albums and a single out there. So it's really a matter of a mood thing. I will connect what meant a lot to me in the moment, but I'll swing around in my writing. So it really, really depends. Yeah. I hope I've answered you.
Yeah, you have. Yeah. Martin wants to know, there's a question for Frank. Frank,
Yes.
have you ever acted in Taxi?
Have you ever acted in Taxi?
Have I ever acted in the TV series?
Yeah,
Taxi?
Taxi. Yeah.
No, I wish I did. I'd be I'd be very rich right now. No,
Yeah. He
no.
said
Danny DeVito was in that series.
he said you look like somebody who acted in Taxi.
Yeah, I can do Danny DeVito.
You need your glasses.
I need my glass for that.
He's a good actor.
Oh, brilliant! Really
I
good.
also do a good impersonation of Robert De Niro too. So
Good.
I look up like him a bit, Robert De Niro. But I can. Angela says no, you don't.
You know what? Show him, as your friend.
This is Robert De Niro. Okay, Steve, I want you to ask me any question you want. I'm Robert De Niro right now, okay? And I'm going to do an imitation of Robert De Niro. Are you good?
Okay.
Okay,
so-
ask me any question you want.
Okay. What's your wife called?
My wife. What do you want to talk about my wife?
I probably fancy her.
I don't talk about my wife, on talk shows. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not a good thing,
Well
Yeah.
Well done. Thank you two.
You're very welcome.
Hey,
for
thanks
your
so
time.
much.
Thank you, and
You're so much fun.
Yeah.
We enjoy being on your show.
Yeah. Invite us again. We love it.
And big hugs to you.
Yeah. I will do. Thank you so much for that. And I want to hear more about your film next time we get you on.
Good. Yeah. I'll have more to talk about. Absolutely. And Angela about her music too, because she's got lots more to talk about.
Oh yeah, a big score to make.
Yeah.
And
What's the score, Angela? What's the score?
it's funny because I have to re-record my vocals to the songs I wrote. I recorded them in a hotel room with my equipment and produced the music. So I have more things to do there and match up to the same vocal, get all those done. And he acted in it. He had a role in it. Frank had a role in it.
I was a cameo. I just had a couple of scenes. I like to do little cameos, because when I'm busy directing, I can't be in front of the camera and be directing at the same time. So I just do a cameo here and there. It's always fun.
Oh, there you go. Brilliant. Thank you very much, you two. Thank you for joining
thanks,
me.
Steve. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. And happy Valentine's Day for
Yes.
next week. I'm going to do a show on Tuesday night.
On Valentine's.
In addition to my regular Thursdays and Sunday nights, 8 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you guys are up really late, I'm going to get Frank to sing with me. If
I
he's
will.
Okay. Do that.
Oh,
I will be
brilliant.
okay. I will sing on Valentine's Day.
Yay.
You give the audience a chance to run away.
What you're going to sing?
What am I going to sing? Oh, I have no idea. I'm very impulsive. Of course, I'll sing my favorite all the way to Angela, but
You want to sing it as a duet?
we could do that too. Yeah.
Lover.
Lovers in the dark. Yeah. Right. Okay. I've got to go.
Okay. Take care.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thanks
Have a
everybody
beautiful
listening
night.
in.
Yes,
We love
thank
you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.